Iron Man. Iron Man. Marvel comic movies. We've changed the entire platform of the podcast. It will still be Your Favorite Band Sucks, but we are going to actually talk about Marvel movies from here on out, starting with Iron Man. So tell me about your thoughts about Iron Man.
Well, I think it's been fantastic to watch Robert Downey Jr.'s career have such a strong revival. I mean, he was really in the ditch there for a long time.
Yeah.
And he pulled it back together, and he's now part of a critically successful and commercially viable franchise, one of the biggest on the planet.
I'm thankful.
He's such a treasure. Don't you think that he's a treasure?
He is a treasure.
He's one of our treasures.
You know who's not a treasure?
I am Iron Man.
They're probably the most inspiring band in history because if Black Sabbath can become legends, anyone can become legends.
Right. Yeah, the bar is set pretty low here if you're going to say that Black Sabbath are legends. How low is the bar set? Jeez.
It's rough.
You should think of it like this. It would be the equivalent of going to see a cover band and then becoming somehow, through some miracle of bullshit, an actual band, and then becoming everyone's go-to, I don't even know, whatever stoner rock band is what they're considered. But the reality is Black Sabbath is a Led Zeppelin cover band gone wrong.
It wouldn't be like that. It just is that.
That is just the truth.
Yeah, you just described everything that...
And you're sitting there going, no, it's not. No, it isn't. No, it is.
Oh, it is.
And we're going to prove it.
Not just Led Zeppelin, but yeah, a bunch of stuff.
I mean, no, they straight rip off a lot of things.
Kim Thale once said the reason Soundgarden formed was to sound like Black Sabbath songs without the parts that suck. So anyone who's already pissed off at us about this, you got to get mad at Soundgarden now too.
Absolutely. They basically did Your Favorite Band Sucks of the band before we did. We're basically just ripping off Soundgarden right now by saying that Black Sabbath sucks.
I'll just sit around and like be depressing as fuck, and I'm just ripping off Soundgarden.
Black
you know?
hole sun.
Black hole sun.
That's just sad looking at the sun.
I really would like for, damn it, now I can't remember, that fucking pedantic asshole astrophysicist Twitter dude, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, I would love for Neil deGrasse Tyson to break down black hole sun for everyone.
Like what it really is and how we
time.
would all be dead in 5 seconds because like you need the sun to stay warm. The world would freeze over in 3 seconds or something like that. That's what he would say.
He probably already has.
He probably already has.
Okay, Black Sabbath suck. That's why we're here. Black Sabbath suck.
Black Sabbath sucks.
Black Sabbath started out as a blues band, and they were so bad that God cut off Tony Iommi's fingertips so he would stop playing guitar.
And he didn't.
Yeah, Tony didn't listen.
He was just like,
yeah,
screw you, God. I'm going to keep doing my thing.
yeah.
Maybe it's time to take up drums.
Well, some people might wonder how we can be such assholes to someone who lost their fingertips and overcame that adversity and, you know, found a way to keep playing and went on to become one of the biggest bands ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it right now.
I feel bad for him for losing his fingertips. There are people that lose their dicks.
That's not cool, man.
I feel bad for the guy that loses his dick is all I'm
I
saying.
think my mom's watching this.
Hey, Mom.
I didn't say that.
Hi, Mom. I said it, not Tyler.
This isn't like we're talking about Django Reinhardt here. You know, it's not like some dude only had 2 fingers and was the best guitar player in the world. He lost his fingers and was kind of not a great guitar player ever.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say, even if someone loses their fingertips, it's okay to say that they sucked at whatever they were doing. I don't think that losing your fingertips allows people to never say you're bad at something ever again.
Here's something else about this whole losing your fingertips thing.
Because if that's the case, I'm going to go home and chop my finger off so nobody can ever say anything we ever do is bad.
I was waiting for you to get to there.
Seriously,
Yeah, you should
I'll
do
go
it.
home and chop my fingertip off, my pinky. And then nobody can say anything bad about this podcast ever. All of your emails are bullshit if I cut my fingertip off.
I don't know if it works if you Babe Ruth it. This is what I'm going to do.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
We'll
I guess.
find out.
You're fucking weird, man. This is one of those things that people treat like some sort of huge piece of music trivia. Oh, did you know that Tony Iommi lost his finger? Yeah, I did know that because I have the internet.
Yeah.
And I actually knew it even before the internet because this is one of those things that people have thought they were the only person who knew it since forever.
I don't think you did. I think you Googled it right before this.
It's not even that. No, isn't it so interesting that he lost his fingertips and that's why they started tuning their guitars down and that's how they invented heavy metal? No, it's not interesting because that's not why they started tuning their guitars down.
And they didn't invent heavy metal.
They didn't invent heavy metal. They didn't start tuning their guitars down until the third fucking album because that's probably how long it took for someone to hear Tony complaining about how playing guitar hurt his fingers and say, oh, well, you know that they've been tuning these things down for decades and it decreases the string tension and it'd probably be way easier if you... Oh, really? I didn't know that. No, I could tell that you didn't know that because you clearly don't even know how to tune your fucking guitar.
I can't believe you would be so mean to somebody without
And
fingertips.
Black Sabbath didn't invent heavy metal.
I am appalled that you would be so mean.
Blue Cheer.
Somebody... Did they lose their fingertips, though? You can't be mean to people that lose their fingertips, Tyler.
I'm doing it right now. I can. Anyone who thinks Black Sabbath invented metal needs to get familiar with Blue Cheer ASAP. As soon as fucking possible is what that means, because I assume if you think Black Sabbath
Does
invented
somebody
metal, you're way
actually
too
think
stupid.
that?
A lot of people think that.
Okay, if you think Black Sabbath invented heavy metal, just shut this podcast off.
Someone tweeted it at us.
No way. I didn't see that.
Someone tweeted at us that, because we talk shit on so many British bands, which I don't know why anyone would even notice that. Like, who cares where these bands are from? But someone was like, oh, I can't believe you talk shit on so many British bands, but at least you won't be able to talk shit on Black Sabbath because they invented metal.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, Blue Cheer, kid. America. Oh, say, can you see?
Yeah, and blues in general came from him. Get the fuck out of here. Black fucking Sabbath invented heavy metal. That is fucking so stupid. That's painfully fucking stupid. If I had the power to, I would ban that guy from pretty much life. I would just ban him from everything. Well, where do you go get coffee in the morning? You're fucking banned. Where do you go get beers at night? You're banned. You have no Facebook, you have no Twitter, you have no Instagram, you're gone. You don't even get an email account.
I'm glad you're not in charge of stuff because that's not nice.
I don't care.
That's not good.
It's fine. That's what would happen to that guy. Invented heavy metal. That triggers me.
Invented heavy metal.
I am hashtag triggered.
Dude, and people who say that use the timestamp of the first Black Sabbath album coming out. That's not a heavy metal album. It sounds like Jethro Tull.
Sitting on a park bench.
They got a flute in the band. It ain't
Bingo,
fucking heavy
done.
metal.
Yeah.
It ain't automatic disqualification.
Dude, you could be shredding the guitar.
I don't care.
If you have a flute in your fucking band,
I don't
you're
care.
not heavy metal.
Tony Iommi was in Jethro Tull for a minute before this album came out. It's not an accident that it sounds like Jethro Tull.
It's almost like he was inspired.
Here's how uninspired and unoriginal this entire band is. Okay, and I'm going to get into another whole conspiracy theory after saying this, but right here, the album's called Black Sabbath, right? The band's name is Black Sabbath. The first song on the album is called Black Sabbath. All of this shit was inspired by a movie called Black Sabbath. You've got Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath on the album Black Sabbath, all of which only exists because of the movie Black Sabbath.
Just makes my head hurt, even listening to you say that.
I would encourage anyone whose butthole is already puckered up over this episode to go back and actually listen to this fucking song on headphones and ask yourself, okay, whose idea was it to pan the guitar all the way into the left channel for the entire song except the final 60 seconds?
I think you should ask yourself why you're listening to any of it at all.
This is the kind of thing that makes a song unlistenable after you notice it, and congratulations, I just made you notice it.
Every time you hear this from now on, that is all you'll hear.
And the rest of the album is nothing like this one song. The rest of the album is very annoying, and there are just way too many guitar solos everywhere. Again, because this is a dude who's not that great at playing guitar, and yeah, there are good reasons for it, but good reasons for why it's not good. All the guitar solos suck, they're annoying, and they are everywhere. There are way too many guitar solos on this stuff.
This is something that you should do for every episode of what we do. You should go back and actually listen to the record, not the song that you like.
Don't get pissed because of what you remember, the way that you remember it being or whatever. Yeah, go back and actually just try to listen to it objectively. Just try, because that's what we do, and it's usually pretty fucking rough.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Because people say things like, Black Sabbath invented heavy metal. And then I listen to it, and I'm like, this isn't even heavy metal.
There's this whole conspiracy theory that Black Sabbath ripped off a bunch of shit from another band called Coven, who'd already been around for a few years, You can even find footage of Martha Quinn showing Tony Iommi the first Coven album on a TV interview. Like she thought she was going to get him. Oh, I'm really going to get him. Kind of like a pre-Nardwuar thing. And Tony acts like he's never seen it before in his life.
Yeah.
You know, and the first thing he wants to know is when that album came out. He can tell what she's doing. Because I should say, the band Coven had a guitar player named Oz Osbourne. And I think the first song on their first album was called Black Sabbath.
Oz Osbourne.
Oz Osbourne. Yeah.
And one of the songs was called Black Sabbath.
And there's the whole witchy vibe, very intentionally done. I can't remember the name of the first Coven album, but it's something like Problems of Witchcraft or like How to Destroy Witchcraft or some shit like that. I don't know.
So they stole, hypothetically,
It's
the
same
entire
shit.
vibe.
In this interview with Martha, Tony's like, well, when did that come out? As if he doesn't know. And she's like, oh, it came out in 1969. He goes, oh, yep, see, there you go, because we changed our name from Earth to Black Sabbath in 1968. And he makes such a big deal out of this. He just keeps hammering on this point of that they changed their name to Black Sabbath in 1968. Everyone knows the reason why they changed their name to Black Sabbath is because they like the song that they wrote so much. So they must have already had that song written, entitled, and everything in 1968, the year before this album came out. Except Earth changed their name to Black Sabbath in August of 1969.
Weird.
Weird.
Are you saying that Black Sabbath ripped off another band?
I don't know, man.
Literally, almost word
It
for
just
word.
really, really looks that way.
Well, if it weren't for the fact that he got his fingers chopped off, I would have so many things to say about that.
Oh, I'm glad that's holding you back.
I just think that's crazy to me. Not the movie Coven, which is a great movie. I do recommend people watch that. That's a fucking great. No, it's not. It's the American movie. That's a great. Sorry,
I don't know what you're doing.
You
right
don't
now.
know what that?
The documentary about the
guy who
real
was gonna make
crazy
the movie Coven.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
that. It's the band Coven.
Yeah, it is a band.
So Black Sabbath, the band, goes from being a Led Zeppelin cover band to a Coven ripoff band because they think nobody knows and nobody will ever find out that they straight up ripped off Coven to a T. And then when one of the guitar players leaves, Jethro Tull, he takes his quote unquote influence from Jethro Tull and makes this whatever Black Sabbath is.
Yeah.
Which is not fucking heavy metal.
It's not.
They're a blues rock band
For sure.
that's tuned down.
For sure. By the way, Coven is from America, so it's one more case of a
Weird.
British band that everyone thinks is so fucking landmark and historical,
It's
just
almost-
ripping off American music.
It's almost like all of these people just ripped off American music.
What's going on, Tony?
Weird.
What's the story, Morning Glory?
Why don't you come clean? It's been enough time. All the members of Coven will be like, I fucking knew it. He ripped us off.
Anyway, yeah, I think calling the first Black Sabbath album metal is a stretch at best. There is a harmonica on this fucking album. That's got to be an instant disqualification. If flute is an automatic disqualification,
Yeah, harmonica's
harmonica's
got
got to get you kicked out.
There's one of the lyrics of this. What record was the world is a lonely place. You're on your own. Guess I will go home, sit down and moan. Crying and thinking is all that I do.
Yeah,
well, if that isn't heavy metal, I don't know what is.
That's a later album, but yeah.
But that's just screams heavy metal.
It screamo? Screamo? Emo.
Oh, weird.
There are a lot of bad Black Sabbath trends that start right on this first album too.
Not tuning.
All
Is
the
that like
shit
a trend?
it's out of tune guitars. One of the big ones that really stood out to me is that Black Sabbath are so bad at ending their songs. Have you noticed this?
Fade out every
So
song.
many of their songs are a fade out, or they do that noisy meltdown where all like everyone starts playing Racket all together.
And it still fades out
Or
usually.
or like a sped up tape sound effect, like at the end. Yeah. Or they just like let the instruments ring out, like
Which is basically a fade out.
Yeah.
They're all variations of the fade.
and it'll like put like a stupid whisper over it or something. I mean, it's really like they have such a hard time getting to a point where it sounds as if they're all playing the same song together that once they get it going, they're afraid to stop. Like they just can't stop.
They just keep
so they just
going.
fucking jam, and then finally, all right, we got to find a way to end this off here. You know,
I'll just keep going and then we'll just fade off.
you should do that at the end of this episode, like speed up the tape.
That's a good idea.
Ozzy Osbourne sings like he's blackout drunk and trying to remember how his mouth works.
And that's been true from the beginning. I think
It's
some
also
people...
how he talks.
And always has. It's how he talks and always has talked.
Yeah, I think people had this idea of him being this sort of like fucked his brain up with drugs and everything.
Right.
Nah, this dude was always like this. For sure.
This is Ozzy from day one.
Why don't you ask him what he was doing before he was in this band?
Please.
The answer is breaking into houses and stealing shit to try to sell it at the pub for pint money. Like one time he stole a bunch of baby clothes. He tried to steal clothes he broke into a house, and the thing that he was going to steal was clothing, first of all. Who in their right fucking mind breaks into a house and steals clothes? This kid was a fucking dumbass from the jump.
In their right mind, nobody. In their Ozzy Osbourne mind, I guess Ozzy.
So not only does he break into this house with the intention of stealing clothes, I guess, he accidentally steals baby clothing. And then goes down to the bar and is trying to sell it and gets caught and gets put in jail. And apparently you could just pay a fine to get out of jail for robbing people, at least back in the day. But his dad doesn't pay the fine to teach Ozzy a lesson, and spends 6 weeks in jail. Like, that's what this dude was doing before this band. This isn't the whole story about he took acid every day for a year and it fucked his mind up and that's the way he is. That is revisionist history. This dude is a dumb ass.
I think that's the story that people want it to be, so they can be like, look how edgy and weird he is. He did acid so much he burned his brain out. No, he just was an asshole, and he snorted ants.
And here's another thing that dudes who corner you at parties to talk about music love to bring up as if it's a rare insight, is this thing about how Ozzy always sings the guitar riff in a Black Sabbath song. Yeah, dude, thanks. I have ears. I don't need you to tell me that Ozzy is singing the riff.
And I don't write songs, but I feel like if I did, that would be just a weird cop-out thing.
Oh, are you kidding me?
That doesn't seem hard or difficult.
Ozzy very well may be the single luckiest guy in the history of music because he basically never did anything. He didn't contribute creatively in any way to this band. The fucking bass player writes all his lyrics and he sings the riff.
Yeah.
Tony writes the riff, Ozzy sings the riff. The bass player writes the lyrics, Ozzy sings the lyrics.
So talented.
But he's the front man. All the people think that he does everything. I guarantee you most people think that Ozzy writes the lyrics that he's singing.
Oh, fuck yeah, 100%.
I will say, though, that I absolutely love the song War Pigs, not because it's good, but because when it comes on in a bar, you can always look around the room and
be entertained.
Find some drunk idiot who's gonna try to sing the song or play air guitar or play air drums to it or whatever. Just watch that person for, 15 seconds, and it will become pretty clear that they do not know this song.
We should do an episode where we just do like top 10 worst / best songs to put on at the bar when you're at the bar.
To watch this kind of shit?
Exactly, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because I have actually a pretty solid list.
Champagne Supernova by Oasis is a killer one.
Like,
you could get a fucking sing-along going to that song.
Fuck. Is it Bomb Track by Rage Against the Machine?
Just another bomb track!
Or is it whatever song ends with fuck you, I won't do it, you tell me?
Killing in the name of.
Yeah.
When they're trying to fucking stay on time with that, they can't do it.
Dude, I have watched so many bros, and I'm not even kidding, in salmon, we'll call them salmon, not pink, shirts.
And
screaming with
white shorts,
yes,
boat shoes.
Yes.
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Yeah.
Yes, you will. You always do what you're told.
Calm down. The song's actually about you, Chad.
Your internship at the fucking stock exchange.
Exactly. Even with War Pigs, I think if people actually knew the background, maybe they wouldn't sing the song. I don't know. It's fun to watch. It's definitely fun to watch people sing it.
There's a reason that all of those early Black Sabbath albums were panned by critics when they came out. And half the people who are going to get mad about this haven't sat down and really listened to these albums on, I wonder how much music would be different. I wonder how much the history of music would be different if everyone just invested in a good pair of headphones. I've always had good headphones. Therefore, I've always had good opinions about music.
Well, because you get to actually experience the song for what it's meant to be experienced as. Not in your car stereo, your shitty car stereo does not compare to a nice set of headphones.
People haven't sat down and listened to Black Sabbath on good headphones.
I think people haven't listened to Black Sabbath probably in a long time.
You were 15 and you didn't know anything about music.
Yeah.
When you fell in love with Black Sabbath, how much music had you really heard? Because this is one of the first bands you get handed. So you attach all of this like, oh, it was the gateway. That's what I got. Dude, that doesn't mean anything about the music itself. That's you. That's your fucking story. That hasn't a damn thing to do with how good or bad Black Sabbath is or isn't, because they're bad.
Nostalgia does not dictate quality of music.
You are so entirely irrelevant to whether or not this band is good. You don't fucking matter.
People misconstrue their nostalgia for things with quality.
You didn't know shit when you fell in love with this.
Yeah.
You didn't know a fucking thing about music when you fell in love with this. And if you could go back to it with everything that you know now, and you can be honest with yourself and pay attention to what you're fucking hearing.
Wanting to piss the parents off.
It does
by
not.
Listening to a Christian rock band.
It does not hold up. This is a Christian rock band. I want to talk about that later. This shit does not hold up. The band's timing isn't even very good. They drop the rhythm of the songs all over the place. Mark already brought up the out-of-tune instruments, which
is a known thing.
A very fucking real thing. But them not even being able to play well together is one reason why drunk dudes in bars can never air guitar to War Pigs or air drum to Paranoid, because this shit is sloppy. That drunk dude in the bar probably has a better sense of rhythm than anyone in this band, and that's why he has such a hard time fucking air jamming out to it.
Exactly.
Just listen to Iron Man, dude. Seriously, Iron Man has got to be one of the dumbest songs I've ever heard.
What?
And I thought that when I was like 9 years old.
Tyler, he says,
I am Iron Man.
Has he lost his mind? That is such a shitty guitar
It's
riff.
so shitty.
And it makes it so much shittier when you throw in the fact that Ozzy's singing the riff the whole song, drawing even more attention to how bad the riff is.
I just feel like that's what you're not supposed to do.
And it's like their biggest song.
The second thing they teach you in songwriting class for writing music is don't sing the fucking riff.
It's one of their biggest songs. Everything about this song is so stupid. The guitar riff sucks. The drumming is moronic. The lyrics, don't even get me started on the lyrics. The entire point of the song, the entire history, the story about how it came to be written, what it's about, all of this is so dumb. And here's the thing. This is not me taking some weird one-off song that they did, picking it apart because it's so easy to do that with any band you want to. Just pick their worst song and tear it to shreds. No, this is a classic Black. If I wanted to do that, I'd bring up one of those ridiculous hippie jams like Planet Caravan off of Master Reality. When the fuck is that shit? Which, by the way, there's so much stuff like that in Black Sabbath's discography that it would be totally fair of me to bring Planet Caravan up and spend a lot of time talking about it, but I'm not. I'm going to talk about Iron Man because Iron Man is Black Sabbath. This is the epitome of Black Sabbath. This is what this band sounds like, and it is bad.
Mic drop. It is the song that defines Black Sabbath. The most popular, well-known thing. If you put on that part, every idiot in their head fucking starts banging their head like, oh yeah, man, I love this song, even though they don't even know.
What the fuck? Is this the Who? Do we put the Who into like this sounds like a Pete fucking Townsend guitar riff. Tony Iommi's guitar solos are so bad. Check this out. This is another thing where once you begin to notice it, you'll hear it every time Black Sabbath is on, and it'll start to drive you crazy, as it always should have. You just never noticed it before. Tony Iommi's guitar solos are so bad that they almost always end up layering two different ones on top of each other to make it sound like what he's doing is, crazy and interesting or like really good or exciting, Two fucking guitar solos happening at the same time. We're being watched by a bunch of people outside the windows right now like we're fucking monkeys in a zoo. Two guitar solos happening at the same time. Oh my God, that's so crazy.
And then when they play it live, what they have to do to entertain. Well, no, it goes back to my favorite pet peeve is when you can't do it, distract people with crazy theatrical elements. We're going to blast lights in your face and tons of crazy shit just so you don't pay attention to what we're doing.
While I'm thinking about the Paranoid album, I do want to point out that the lyrics of the song Paranoid have nothing to do with paranoia because these guys are all stupid and they don't know what the words they're using mean.
They haven't looked at the definition of the words before they actually put them on there.
Go look at the fucking lyrics of Paranoid.
But it sounds cool.
They're all about depression. They have nothing to do with paranoia. This is Alanis Morissette levels of not knowing the meaning of the words you're using.
Oh man, we got to get into that some other time.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, that's don't you think?
I really do think.
It's a little too ironic.
Also, Paranoid was a better song when it was called Communication Breakdown by Led Zeppelin.
And admitted that they were afraid to actually play the song and release the song.
Not our words.
This is not our words.
Not our words. Their words.
Yeah.
They say that Led Zeppelin was their favorite band. They used to get together for rehearsals and just get stoned and listen to Led Zeppelin instead.
Which is cool. You should have just enjoyed the Led Zeppelin and not made music.
When Tony came up with the riff, they honestly thought that they wouldn't be able to record it because of how similar it was to Communication Breakdown by Led Zeppelin. They almost didn't even record this song because they were worried about getting sued over it.
Yeah, and that's not, again, we didn't make this
I'm
shit
not
up.
making it up.
You can look it up yourself. They did not want to play this song because they were actually afraid that people would just think that they ripped off Led Zeppelin, which they did. And if you listen to both songs, it's painfully obvious.
Of course, there are a million metal bands that are better than Black Sabbath. And probably most of the people listening to this already know them. But we can throw some shout outs to some bands.
Listen to Earth.
Yeah.
Seeing as how that's what Black Sabbath.
Dylan Carlson, Earth.
Yeah. Listen to Earth. That'd be cool if you actually like metal. It's kind of doomy.
They're not really metal. I mean, they haven't been for a while.
Well,
they
like,
were at one point. It was like, droney,
doomy and
feedbacky.
droney. Yeah. I guess
But I love that shit.
Yeah.
Especially if anyone listening to this does any writing. When you write a lot, you need music that has no words to it or is in like another language or something. Because if someone's singing words at you, you're going to end up typing that out on the screen on accident, or it keeps you from being able to think in language. Earth is really good for anyone who has writing to do.
It's cool. The only reason I thought of that is because they used to be called Earth. So thanks for changing your name, Black Sabbath, because then Earth wouldn't have been able to exist.
I assume that a lot of folks are going to be checking out the American band Coven after reading this.
I was going to say,
but you should also
bands you should listen to Coven because they did it before Black Sabbath.
But you should also look up another American band called Pentagram.
Yeah. Watch the documentary. It's fascinating.
One band I think people may not know about, though, and I really want to make a point of talking about for a second, and it's a band that I brought up in the Red Hot Chili Peppers episode a little bit because the Chili Peppers ripped off one of their guitar riffs. A band called Budgie.
Budgie's sick.
Well, because they were doing this at the same time as Black Sabbath. They might have started doing it a little bit later. I don't know, but who fucking cares?
Budgie and Bang are the two bands that I listen to.
Well, Budgie definitely wasn't leaning on the Satan witchcraft casting spells vibe, at least in the way it looked.
Not at all.
Budgie was just a rock band, and they were really fucking good.
Very good.
Probably not as good as Thin Lizzy, but very good. I have and listened to Budgie albums and enjoy them. I'll throw this shit on at parties. Also, by the way, anytime you put this on at a party, someone will say, "What is this?
Right.
Like, this is really good. What is it? I haven't heard of it before." Yeah, definitely check out Budgie.
It's like what Black Sabbath maybe wanted to be, but couldn't play their instruments.
They're playing their asses off.
They're actually like a real band.
They're playing their asses off the whole time.
It's not like a joke band with a shtick, like our little satanic Christian band shtick.
Did you know that there's a book about the philosophy of Black Sabbath? Did you see this?
No.
I can't remember what it's called.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I did not.
Like philosophy and Black Sabbath or something. Some hard-on sat
I was going to say,
actually fucking
fuck
wrote
you.
This shit.
It's such a try-hard thing. That is nothing more than a fan wanting to meet Ozzy by writing a dumbass book.
I didn't read the book, obviously, but I did find a review from Amazon to give you an idea of the kind of person who has read this Black Sabbath philosophy tome.
Tome.
The review is titled Masterpiece with an exclamation mark. Masterpiece. Black Sabbath and philosophy are synonyms. No, they are not. Black Sabbath and philosophy are synonyms. A complex experience for mind and senses which demands full attention. Same thing with the book. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. All right, this grammar is fucked.
Is this the guy that wrote the book?
I don't know. I don't know. But this grammar is really fucked up, though, so I hope not. So, like, what I'm about to say is grammatically incorrect, but I'm reading it
reading it.
I'm reading it the way that it was written.
We'll forgive you.
Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath album as reading soundtrack to the book is perfect experience. This is the kind of intellectual heavyweight that's getting a lot out of this stuff.
That guy ate a lot of mushrooms.
This it reminds me of the movie Congo. Like,
That guy
Amy,
fucking-
want, raindrop, drink.
That guy fucking wrote the book. This is the thing about bands like Black Sabbath and bands like Black Sabbath set a tone for other bands that it was okay to be mediocre.
Yeah, I would argue that The Who started this trend. Yeah.
And you could use the sticky goofiness of your band to offset the mediocre songwriting, the mediocre guitar playing, drumming. Everything is mediocre. And so thank you. So many bands can look up to them instead of looking up to talented.
It's so much of the imagery and the idea of this band is what carried it along for so long, because I referenced earlier how all these albums were panned by critics. So what you've got is the people telling everyone what they're supposed to think say that this stuff's bad. All the, well, you're not going to tell me what to think.
Yeah.
Fucking knuckle draggers are just going to fucking start listening to this shit just because they said it's bad, and they're going to decide it's their favorite thing. I don't know why everyone says it's bad. I like it. I think good. I think album good.
Yeah.
I think that's probably your typical Black Sabbath
You're downplaying the importance of Black Sabbath. They're important. Important band. Important band.
I am Iron Man.
But so yeah, you've got that in conjunction with the whole your parents get mad when they find out that you're listening to Black Sabbath, because fucking Reader's Digest is publishing articles telling them that Black Sabbath is satanic or whatever.
Don't let your kids listen to this music.
Yeah, exactly. You got parents hearing, what is this that stands before me? You're like running in the fucking room, smashing shit on the turntable,
Man.
And so that makes you want to listen to it even more because it makes your parents all mad. But here's the thing that is really funny to me is that this is a Christian rock band.
Pure and simple.
Fucking straight up, no bones about it.
But Tyler...
point blank Christian rock band.
But Tyler, Ozzy ate the head of a bat off this. He'd shoot his head off. Would Jesus do that?
You never heard of animal sacrifice?
I don't know. The guy wears more crosses. Everyone in the band wears crosses. They're not even upside down.
It's always been hilarious to me that parents freaked out over Sabbath being all satanic and shit because Geezer Butler's lyrics are Christian as fuck because he is literally Catholic. He's a fucking Catholic.
This is what Black Sabbath has done for music.
He's got Ozzy singing about Satan and shit, but it's always a cautionary tale. It's always a song about how the devil is bad.
Ghost sings about Satan in like a praise and worship way. Not beware of the devil, you just can't kill the beast or some fucking Eagles bullshit. You know what I mean?
Here are some lyrics from After Forever on Master of Reality. Here are the lyrics of this song.
Don't talk to Satan.
Could it be you're afraid of what your friends might say if they knew you believe in God above? They should realize before they criticize that God is the only way to love.
Wow.
Scott Stapp heard this. Scott Stapp was listening to this shit. This is Creed.
It is, yeah.
How is everyone so fucking mad about Creed being all popular now? Everyone's like, oh, Creed is just the example of the worst kind of music. Dude, what about Black Sabbath? There's no difference between Black Sabbath and Creed. Creed's probably a better band.
This is what I want you to do. Everyone listening to this podcast, I want you to rewind it and remember what Tyler just said about those lyrics. Now, go have a conversation today with your friend. These are Scott Stapp lyrics.
Yes.
Can you believe it? Say those exact lyrics.
They're going to make fun of it.
They're going to make fun of it.
And then
you drop
it's
the
Black
bomb.
Sabbath.
It's actually Black Sabbath.
Fucking poser.
They're so satanic. Dorks.
All right. I legit stopped paying attention to this band at all after Dio came into the equation. So I really don't have anything to say about heaven and hell or any of that other shit. I just don't know anything about it because I can't imagine why anyone fucking cares.
My final note that I have in my notes says that Black Sabbath, one of their worst sins, as so many other bands, is not knowing when to stop.
Yeah, just fucking stop calling yourselves Black Sabbath, break up.
Sometimes you
break
just
up.
gotta stop. And it's okay. Sometimes it's all right to break up.
But we can talk about Ozzy because, oh, wow, there's a lot to talk about.
But damn,
there.
people don't often know the difference between Black Sabbath songs
Oh, his solo
and
career?
Ozzy songs. What I'm saying is that some of the quote-unquote fans don't know the difference.
No, they fucking don't.
Guarantee it. I know for
Well,
sure.
I think what's really crazy about that is people who can't spot the fucking difference between Tony Iommi and Randy Rhoads. Because are you fucking serious?
It's a pretty big difference.
It's an Olympic athlete playing against
Yeah.
a fifth grader. Come on.
The downfall is no matter how much of a shredder and riff writer you are,
Yeah, well,
you still
it's
got
Ozzy just
dude, Mama, I'm Coming Home should be a disqualifying song for his entire career.
Diary of a Madman's lyrics are so bad. Over the Mountain. What is Over the Mountain about? What's that song about?
I don't know, Tyler, but he's coming home to his mama. That's all I know. Mama is coming home.
I was at a funeral one time where that was played.
I believe it.
It fucking sucked.
I totally believe it. Like multifaceted because it's sad on multiple levels.
It was crazy because it was in a church. So I heard Ozzy played in a church, which I don't know how many people
Not going to be a very common thing.
I
Yeah.
don't know. But yeah, it wasn't cool. Should we talk about Ozfest a little bit? Because that's because of this.
Yeah.
I mean, Ozfest was such an important thing for shitty bands and the people who liked the shitty bands.
So Black Sabbath paves the way for mediocre bands, which paves the way for Ozzy's solo career, which leads into a festival of mediocrity.
In America, this asshole's got to come to America, find the worst bands that he can, take them on tour.
And slap his name on top. Which, call me crazy, but that just sounds kind of shitty.
Hot Topic Fest.
That's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, just a Hot
Absolutely.
Topic Fest. I bet Hot Topic sponsored it probably towards the end. I don't know.
I would almost guarantee
It would blow my mind if Hot Topic was never a sponsor
somebody
of
at Hot Topic
Ozfest.
should get fired. Should have got fired. You missed a huge opportunity.
I bet that there was probably even a deal. Again, this is pure speculation. I didn't look this up, but it would surprise me if it was not true. Surplus Ozfest merch ending up in Hot Topic stores seems like a no-brainer. If that's not a thing that happened, yeah,
I want to know how much surplus Ozfest merch is on eBay right now.
a ton. I'm
Guarantee
certain.
it.
So much of it. If Ozfest wasn't enough to just fucking destroy his own legacy, the Osbournes.
Oof.
The reality TV show, which is another very important thing for everyone who somehow hadn't yet realized that Ozzy Osbourne is a total doofus.
Yeah.
Sharon!
It's a-
Sharon!
Icing on the cake. It takes your metal god Ozzy and really shows you the decrepit old man, I guess, that he was.
Fucking screaming at his piece of shit spoiled kids to come help him figure out the remote control. Complaining about little tiny purse dogs shitting on the floor of his mansion.
Dude, here's the thing. I'm going to be 40 later this year. If for some reason somebody still cares about me and wants to put a TV show on when I'm 70, I'm going to say no.
You should probably say no.
I'm pre-saying no now. Why would you want anybody to see you in that state?
He's got a daughter that lived in their guest house the whole time they were filming that. And
It wasn't on the show.
Yeah, she refused to sign the contracts or be a part of it at all.
Good for her.
So she was just there the whole time, but you never see her.
Right.
Smart. I don't even know what her name is, but hey, you're the smart one.
You're my favorite.
Congratulations.
You're my favorite.
Remember when Kelly Osbourne put an album out? She did a cover of Papa Don't Preach.
Remember when they all try to drag out their careers so hard from that?
I think, I think that Ozzy and Jack also did a separate fucking show for the History Channel or some shit, like a Anthony Bourdain type thing maybe. And I obviously did not watch a single second of it, so I don't really know what I'm talking about right now. But yeah, killer fucking legacy, dude.
I like to pretend that everything after all that doesn't exist.
I would like to pretend that none of this ever happened.
I actually forgot that show even existed until we sat down to record this. And I was okay with that. Now I'm bummed I have to go back and think about all this shit.
It's really bad.
It was a huge
Another
show.
terrible result of it is just launching Sharon Osbourne into the public conversation as a person who can now be such a figure that she's on one of those daytime talk shows. I don't know which one, but like,
Barf.
holy shit. She is a person that I do not need her input on anything.
Remember when she beefed with ICP?
Yeah.
Remember when ICP actually made their own money and didn't leverage their whole careers off their husbands?
Ooh.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying she didn't work hard.
She is a business savvy woman.
She is a business savvy woman with her husband's
No,
name.
basically, Basically, all she did was take this bumbling fucking idiot.
Yeah, and grew her own brand.
I mean, and
she did grow her own brand,
sure,
but she grew it off of him.
And there are people who would say that she was a great person, did so many great things for him, reining him in or reining his behavior in.
Right.
But like, not really, because he came out and said that he's been secretly off the wagon for like a year recently.
Yeah,
and
still
their whole fucking marriage is falling apart.
The only reason we're talking about her is because of him.
This was just fucking business. You don't make a reality show like that because your marriage is just that good.
No.
Gotta let everyone see how perfect our relationships are. And it's all because of Black Sabbath. So,
the most important thing you're going to take away from this podcast, if your favorite band is Black Sabbath,
your favorite band sucks. You're ever so welcome for one more Catholic episode of Your Favorite Band Sucks. That's a small c. We cast a wide net with this episode, and that's a result of how much suckiness there is to discuss when the subject is Black Sabbath. In fact, we cast such a wide net with this episode, and some of you may have caught this, we decided to live cast a little bit of the recording. That's right. Some listeners of the podcast knew that we had recorded an episode on Black Sabbath months ago because that's when we live streamed the recording of it on social media. I can't remember if we did that on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or where. So you're going to want to follow us on all of those, I guess. It's YFBS Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Just search Your Favorite Band Sucks on Facebook. That video thing was fun. We had me and Mark on there. You could see us. We had some chat room action happening, which is how I knew my mom was watching and listening to Mark's foul mouth. He is so mean and insensitive sometimes. Speaking of being mean and insensitive, Thanksgiving is coming up, and we want to make sure you have plenty to yell about at the dinner table. So next week, we're releasing a very special episode of Your Favorite Band Sucks. This is very special to me, and I know it's special for Mark also. It's special for us to give it to you as a gift, if you will. Which reminds me of a quote about gifts and a quote about anger. It's one quote, it's the same quote, you've all heard it. Your anger is a gift. And thank you so much to Zach De La Rocha for reminding us, because next week Mark and I will bestow the gift of our anger upon the world as our thanks to you on the topic of Rage Against the Machine. #ArmTheHomeless.